I got a military-age male on a cell phone watching the convoy over.
If you think he's reporting troop movement, you have a green light. Your call, over.
Maybe he's just calling his old lady.
He stepped off. Hold on, I got a woman and a kid 200 yards out, moving towards the convoy. Her arms aren't swinging, she's carrying something. Yeah, she's got a grenade. She's got an RKG Russian grenade. She's saying to the kid.
You say a woman and a kid?
You got eyes on this? Can you confirm?
Negative. Your call.
They fry you if you're wrong.
So, American Sniper, which is the latest film from Clint Eastwood, starring Bradley Cooper as Chris Kyle, Navy SEAL sniper who had the most successful kills in U.S. history. I'm going to come out and say this about what's going on in the press and this whole controversy about this film. Look, I believe that everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But when it comes to somebody actually going over to a foreign country and shooting and killing bad guys who are trying to hurt us, they are not a coward. They are not a coward, Michael Moore and Bill Maher. There's three big bozos that need to shut up. Michael Moore, Seth Rogen, and Bill Maher. Those three stooges really need to shut up because they have no idea what they're talking about. This film, what it really did was give everybody a glimpse of what this one man went through. And anyone says that a sniper is a coward, they are not cowards. This film is brutally realistic. It holds no bars. It shows what this man has to do his job and come back home and deal with the emotional stress that is going on. Because it doesn't just stop once he leaves Iraq. It still goes on when he comes back home. That's why they call it PTSD. It's why they diagnose it that way. This film did a fantastic job of showing that. And I just watched an interview with Sean Hannity with Chris Kyle's dad. And he said that for the most part, he did see his son. He saw his son's life portrayed. And it's really sickening that those three stooges go on television or Twitter, social media, whatever it is, and say that kind of garbage. Don't they realize, or at least two of the Stooges, don't they realize that the reason that man went over and fought, became a sniper, was so that they could come, that those guys could lay down their pretty little heads at night, wake up, and say some stupid remark like that? If they don't, it's one thing to like or hate a movie, because the real life is not going to come, the real life event is not going to come anywhere close to what a film can do. A film is, they have to fictionalize things to make it, somewhat coherent of a story. I mean, just good luck trying to turn a book into a movie. You can't do it faithfully. You cannot do it 100% faithful. You never can. But to see a real event, or supposedly what happened in a real event, take place on screen, and you have three liberal idiots spouting off their propaganda, that this guy was psychotic. That's what Bill Maher said. He said that he was psychotic. Michael Moore said that he was a coward. Seth Rogen is just a stupid idiot, and compared it to Quentin Tarantino's Django and not Django, Inglourious Bastards. First of all, Seth Rogen doesn't know what he's talking about, because he's not even a United States citizen. He's a Canadian. So, he wouldn't know. But this film shows what our soldiers go through. It's not just this one guy. It shows them, that when they come home, they're still there on the battlefields. It never ends. It's not psychotic. I'm sure if Bill Maher were to go overseas and fight and come back, I bet he would go right back to normal. Yeah, right. You cannot tell me that he wouldn't come back somewhat changed. Yeah, I would encourage everybody who is so much, if you're so much as call yourself an American citizen, to go see this movie. And you'll find out that a lot of these people who are in the liberal media need to shut their traps. But they're not going to. But you can make that happen. How do you do that? I'll show you. This is a remote control to my television set. As you can see, it's projecting the poster of American Sniper. The remote control has several different features on it, including channel, which will change the channel, and this little button right here, the red button. Let's just push that and see what it does. Wow! It just turned off the television. It's time, America, stop listening to idiots. Enough said. And some people would criticize me for saying, well, you've watched Michael Moore documentaries before, but this is different. I could say, I've been blind to that. I'm fine with him going after the Bush administration. And I am a conservative. But I did not like Bush, George W. Bush. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think he was crazy. And I think that something needed to be done about the healthcare system, but not the way President Obama's doing it. I do think the economy is to blame for by George W. Bush, and and members of the House and Senate on both parties. Yeah, I do agree with him on some things, but this was a case where Michael Moore needed to shut up. And Bill Maher, gosh, I wish I cared. And Seth Rogen, forget him. But yeah, there's my little review of American Sniper. Actually, I didn't really review it. I just went on a rant about... Turn that back on. Just went on a little rant about liberals and the media and them running their traps. But yeah, it's a well-made film that Clint Eastwood, I think, in some respects, I like Clint Eastwood better as a director than an actor. He's good in both positions. But, you know, it's hard to capture a real-life event and put it on film. But you watch something like... If you want to see a good representation of him doing a war movie, watch another great film, Flags of Our Fathers. And, of course, it had a kind of a semi-sequel to that called Letters from Iwo Jima. Because... Flags from Our Fathers was one side, and Letters from Iwo Jima was the other side, and that was kind of interesting that he did two movies from both sides, and that's really, it was really well done on how he did those movies. But this film is probably, I would put this one above Flags of Our Fathers, honestly, because it was brutally realistic. It holds no bars. It is well deserving of the R rating. I would not recommend young children going to see this film because, not just because of language, but it is very graphic violence. And when someone is shot, you see the blood splatter, and it's very graphic. And Bradley Cooper does a fantastic performance. Not only is he the star of the film, he's also a co-producer of the film. So I think that adds a little bit more to his character. That, you know, and because the film shows that this guy did 4 tours in Iraq. He went there the first time, and his wife, he found out that his wife was pregnant with their first child. He comes back, and then he's a different man, and then, of course, he goes back the second time. His wife has a second child, but then he comes back, and she's torn because she's having to raise these 2 children by herself while he's out defending the world, defending, you know, the leader of the free world. And it shows the strain that a war will put on a marriage. It also shows the strain that go through a soldier's mind. You know, when they are done with serving their duty, they're not the same. And one of the things I thought the film did really well was, you know, it was a short portion of the film, is that they show that this guy, he really was damaged. He really was damaged because the first shot in this film is, or the first scene in this film is, he's got to he's up on a rooftop. He's got his sniper rifle set, and there's a woman that hands a child a grenade, live grenade. And the kid is about ready to throw this grenade at an oncoming American tank. And Chris Kyle has gone on to say about that he did not want to shoot that woman or that child, but he was also looking out for his brothers. And it shows what those guys went through over in Iraq, dealing with the Al-Qaeda, and it's just a brutal, brutal film. So, that's my review on American Sniper. A little ranty, but I think it's a well-deserved. I would say this is probably the best picture of the year in terms of Oscars. I liked Unbroken. And some of you have seen my review of Unbroken. I thought Unbroken was a very good film as well. But Unbroken was a different movie. This film was more realistic. And I'm not saying Unbroken was unrealistic. And of course, Unbroken was very realistic, very truthful. And it was a very inspiring story, while this one is not so much. It's a little bit more grim. The best thing I think I've heard about this film is that it's an angry film, and that the Americans are very angry at what's going on right now, and especially in politics, and so they really want to see something angry, and it is a very, very angry film. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's an angry, angry movie, but it's a good anger. It's like an anger that you need to release, and it's, because we don't know, us who are ordinary citizens do not know what these guys are going through. So, from me to you, see you later.